It looked like the end, until he spoke. The stone was sealed. The body was cold. The crowd had scattered. The silence of death screamed louder than the cries of his followers. It looked like the end. Even heaven went quiet. The angels who once sang at his birth stood still. The demons celebrated. The earth had gone dark, and Satan whispered, "I've won." But then he spoke. You don't need a microphone when your voice created galaxies. You don't need a megaphone when your word is power itself. You don't need a crowd when the grave is your pulpit. Because when the Son of God speaks, even death listens. Skeptics say he was just a man. But find me a man who can silence the grave with a single breath. Find me a prophet, imam, or priest whose voice breaks the seal of death and walks out 3 days later without permission. You won't, because only one has ever done it. Jesus. Not with an army, not with weapons, with one word. Live. That's all he needs to say. And what was over is suddenly just beginning. What was buried is breathing. What was hopeless is rising. The widow in 9 had already buried her future. Her son was gone. The mourners wailed. The coffin moved forward. It looked like the end, until Jesus touched it and said, "Young man, I say unto thee, arise." And the dead sat up. The little girl lay lifeless. Her father's tears soaked the floor. The crowd mocked the idea of hope. It looked like the end, until Jesus said, "Talitha cumi," and death had to let her go. Lazarus was wrapped in grave clothes, 4 days gone, his body stinking, his tomb sealed shut. Even his sister said, "It's too late." It looked like the end, until Jesus shouted, "Lazarus, come forth." And the man who was dead came walking out. Over and over again, man writes the ending, and God speaks a new beginning. You who say it's over, that your marriage is dead, your mind broken, your dreams buried, your soul beyond saving. Who gave you the final word? Because unless you're God, your judgment means nothing. Pastors may tell you it's too late. Imams may teach that your deeds define you. Priests may offer ritual and penance, but Jesus offers a voice that cancels the funeral. He doesn't need your help. He doesn't ask for conditions. He speaks life into places religion left for dead. When the woman caught in adultery was thrown before him, it looked like the end. Stones were ready. Judgment hung in the air. But he spoke. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. And shame was shattered. He speaks, and chains break. He speaks, and storms hush. He speaks, and demons run. He speaks, and tombs open. So why do you still listen to voices of defeat? Why do you still believe religion can resurrect what only God can? Why do you accept silence when your Savior is still speaking? It looked like the end. But the author of life wasn't done writing. And he's not done with you. You think your story is finished? Let him speak. You think it's too far gone? Let him speak. You think you've failed too much? Let him speak, because once he does, the grave loses, hell trembles, and your ending becomes his masterpiece. It looked like the end, until he spoke. And now, it's only the beginning.